everyone, it's Kristen. Look what came today. I'm so excited. I mean, it just came out yesterday and I just got it in the mail today. That's like a record for being, because it's been so many months since I've actually gotten it on time slash close, even close to on time. I mean, I just did the video for this, for Uncanny X-Men 18, what, yesterday? Craziness. So pretty much everyone knows who Deadpool is. Outlaw, I did the video about her on Monday, so I'm not gonna like rehash who she is or go into her origin or anything. So you see Dr. Ellis and Captain Ezra from Grey Malkin Prison. They stop in at a diner, and they, you know, because she just really wants a cup of coffee and a muffin. So this girl's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, we're closed." And they're like, "Surely you can spare a muffin, you know, and a cup of coffee." And then it says they're like 15 miles from Graymalkin. And the captain remarks, Dr. Ellis, and Dr. Ellis is like, "I know, we're off the clock though." And he's like, "Okay, yes, ma'am." And the girl tries to pretend she's not immune. She's like, "It's just a skin condition. My mom said so." Um, I mean, but look at her. She's so pretty. So pretty. But yeah, that definitely is very striking, very hard to hide. She reminds me of a zebra. She's very pretty. Anyway, so all of a sudden, Dr. Ellis and Captain Ezra are like, they leave, and he's like, "I thought you really wanted a muffin and a cup of coffee." And she's like, you know, they're being held hostage. There's like, and Captain Ezra is like, "Well, I have enough firepower that I can," and she cuts him off and said, "It's not our problem. She'll be fine. If she's not, who's to say she's not better off?" And I'm like, "Oh, harsh." And so the kidnappers, basically say, "Hey, turn off that sign so that nobody else comes in." So we see the X-Men outside of the mayor's office, which the yellow is, it's this issue is told from Jubilee's point of view. So I think it's nice that they switch in between. I don't think Wolverine's had an issue where it's been from his point of view yet. So anyway, the mayor wants to meet them, so Rogue says that they should look nice. Um, Jubilee says that, even though Wolverine's like nearly 200 years old, he can't even tie his bow tie properly. So they go in, and oh, Jubilee says she's wearing her best tights. So they go in, meet with the mayor. They're almost kind of afraid that the mayor's going to be like, ask them to leave the city. But no, what she does is she reveals Uncanny Village. This is in at the spot where 4 blocks have just been destroyed by the hurricane and just never rebuilt. No one's lives there. No one, goes there because it's destroyed. And they're all like, "What the heck are we looking at?" And every all the buildings have their names on them. Like there's night crawlers, teleporting trampolines, because the mayor's like, "You score really well with kids and young women and gay men." It's like, okay. And Jubilee scores really well with teens, so Jubilee's a jump and jive. And she's like, "And Rogue and Gambit, Mr. Gambit, Miss Rogue, you score really well with basically everybody." Like everybody likes you. Anyway, Wolverine, I guess, doesn't get a building. So this is my favorite part. Look, Deathstream is trapped by the kitties. All three of Gambit's kitties have gotten on his lap. Oh, I'm so jealous. And he's like, "Oh, they've trapped me. I'm trapped by Mr. Gambit's cats, and they're making a rumbling sound. They're gonna murder me." Because and Ransom and Jitter are like, "Come on, you need to help us make breakfast." And so they take the cats off of his lap, which you should never do that. If a cat is happy on your lap, you should just leave it on your lap. I mean, Dazzler for one will not get on my lap. Like it's last time she got on my lap, it was like 2 minutes less. It was definitely less than five. I know that. So, and Ransom is like, "Come on, little brother, I'll show you how to make breakfast." And Death Dream's like, I just need a moment. I have to go do bathroom stuff." And you see him in the mirror and he's crying because he's like, "Someone called me little brother." He'd never, really had family before. And all of a sudden, Waffles takes off because he senses something's wrong. And that's because it's Deadpool and Outlaw. They're on the perimeter, so Waffles is just defending the house, and he doesn't know Deadpool. Just he's just sneaking around, and so he doesn't know him, so he bites him. And then Outlaw just tosses him aside, which I'm like, what the heck? Why would you do that? That's so mean. I dropped my comic book in my excitement of protest that she was being mean to the dog. And then um Deadpool's like, "Okay, let's get to the house before any more kids come running in." And then you see Calico and Ember, and he's like, new mutants. I hate new mutants." And so Outlaw's like, "This is your gig, Wade. Are we punching kids?" And Deadpool says, "We're medium punching kids." And then Ransom's like, "Punching? That's my love language," and punches Outlaw out. And then Death Dream goes to Waffles and he's hurt, and that's so sad. Like I said, that is so mean that Outlaw just threw him like that. That's just wrong. And she, says to Becca, like, "Hey, I'm a horse girl too. I'm about to push you off that horse and ride it myself." And Becca's like, "I'd like to see you try." And then Death Dream is like, "What did you do? Basically you hurt my dog." See, you hurt my dog. And Deadpool's like, "Oh no, it's a John Wick situation. I never want to be in John Wick situation." See, and I feel like I just talked about that movie as in that I won't watch that movie because of that part. Like if people die, it's not a big deal. If animals die, that's really sad. And yeah, I don't want the animals to die because like I said, that's really sad. So Death Dream is like really, really mad. So he tells his pals, I don't even know what to call them, the spirits, whatever, to go after Outlaw, and so they do. They're starting to bury her, and he's like, "Hey, let go of my friend," or I start shooting, and then Jitter's like, "You'll just make him stronger if you do that," and he's like, "You look like you're completely harmable. Tell Eddie Munster, to back off." And then you see this. And Ember's like, "Get your paws off my girlfriend." And you can see Jitter in the background, like, "Oh, she called me her girlfriend." And there you see Outlaw being dragged basically into the ground because, the spirits are like, "Join us. Lay in the ground with us. Come die next to us." And Deadpool's like, "That's it. No more burying, the sexy cowgirl. Otherwise, Papa's gonna spank." And Wolverine's like, "It's gonna be hard to spank with no hands, Wade." And so, Jubilee's like, "Death Dream, put your toys away." And he's like, "No, they hurt my dog." And Jubilee's like, "Apologize." And he's like, why should I apologize? Like, for throwing that creepy sentinel mutt thing. See, he didn't throw it though. Outlaw did. So really should be the one to apologize, but she's I guess buried underground, so she can't apologize. And so she says, "Wade," and she's like, "All right." He's like, "All right, I'm sorry." And Rogue's like, "Okay, let's all calm down. Let's all go to the house and get um some hot cinnamon chocolate." See, she says it weird. Like it always like cinnamon hot chocolate. Like hot chocolate is hot chocolate. You don't separate it, go, some hot cinnamon chocolate. I don't know. It just made me stumble the first first time I read it. I'm like, hot cinnamon chocolate? No, that's not right. Some, cinnamon hot chocolate. Anyway, just I guess that is my only like little pet peeve in this book that they did that. And so Deathstream's like with little marshmallows and Rogue's like, "Sure, anything for you, anything you want. Yeah, let's just let, the lady go." So Wade's like, "This is really starting to hurt." The fire arrow in his head. He's like, "I can smell colors." Some people actually can smell colors. I don't know if they have like this condition where their brain like doesn't think like our brain does, and they can like like numbers have colors or have sense or sounds or something like that. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, but it's pretty rare. So they're all talking about how they basically got hired to keep the X-Men busy while these goons like took over a diner and held these people hostage. And Wolverine's like, "You just couldn't turn down the money, could you, Wade?" And he's like, "Hey, Hugh Jackman, I came here to warn you guys. I mean, I took the money, yeah, but I came here to warn you first." And Outlaw's like, "Yeah, we did. We came to warn you guys." And she said they want Jubilee, and they said they'll spill blood to do it. So Jubilee reminiscence about the time when, like, this was in the Free Comic Book Day prequel where she's on her way from Grey Malkin prison, because she's scoping it out for um, Rogue and Gambit and Wolverine and Nightcrawler, because she wasn't in the very first issue, or maybe, and I think she finally came at the very end of the second issue. I don't know, it's been a while. But anyway, she was scoping out the prison, and these goons like nearly ran her off the road. They were like these smug, rich guy types, and they were hassling, the girl in the diner who, was clearly immune. And so she blew up his car because, basically just to scare him and be like, "Hey, don't come back here." And of course he like being a smug, rich, whatever jerk, he probably deserved it, but she's like, people like that, they don't forget. And so, you know, Deadpool's like, "Well, we'll come with you to teach him some manners." And Outlaw's like, "Sure, we will." And Jubilee says, "No, this is something I have to do by myself." And Rogue's like, no, no, you're not. You're not doing this by yourself." And Nightcrawler speaks up and he says, "People see Jubilee and I as the nice ones." Oh, the Marvel zombies. Oh, yuck. How can I make that go away? There. You know how I feel about zombies. I am not a fan of zombies at all. Like, no, thank you. Um, so Nightcrawler says, he speaks up and says, "People think Jubilee and I are the nice ones, and she has to prove to them that, she's not to be messed with." So Gambit uses the eye to, teleport her to the diner where they're holding the girls, which, you know, uh, yeah, he's like, even though the eye strike warned him about using the eye, he's been using it a lot. And like more and more he gets, the more and more he uses it, the more proficient he is at it. But I'm a little bit worried that, since he's using it so much, that there will definitely be consequences, and I don't want there to be consequences. So Jubilee is in the diner, and the rich kid has a gun, and all the other guys have guns, and so you can see they're holding her name's Yuba. I mean, it's UBA, literally. I don't know how to pronounce that, but and then this other woman, and the rich smug guy is like, "Oh, you know what happened? You wrecked my daddy's car." And so my dad, seeing the car, said that I was irresponsible and wrote me out of his will, and then he died, and so I was left with nothing. So that's what this whole thing is about, payback. And Jubilee's like, and he's like, don't you move or try anything because I have guns on everyone. And so she makes the sign of the mutant, which, she hopes that they get it and she hopes that they duck. So she throws the hot coffee at him and then, you know, blinds him with her powers. And everyone's like, oh, goggles down, goggles down. And she's like, your database must not be updated if you think goggles will save you. So then the last page we have Jubilee, you know, all the guys are down and she says to the two women like, "Are you okay?" And she's like, bless you, Yuba." And apparently Gambit is going to take the ringleader, the rich kid who hired these goons with the last of his money to somewhere not so nice so he can kind of learn his lesson. And they're thinking the Savage Land, maybe. And Gambit says, "You done good, child. Let's get you home." Yes. So the next one is going to be Wolverine and Ransom, and they're going to be in Argentina, which is where he's from, Ransom. So, yeah, like I said, I really thought this was a good issue. I like, you know, Deadpool, he always comes in with wisecracks, but this is by far my favorite part. And I hope Waffles is okay. I feel like, let's see, I feel like he is because here he is next to Death Dream when they talk about marshmallows and hot chocolate. So I feel like he is, but I was still like, when Outlaw threw Waffles, I was like, ah, you, like Deadpool said, John Wick situation. You don't mess with someone's animal, someone's dog. That's just wrong. So, anyway, yeah, I'm super happy I actually got this in a timely fashion. So now I can go online and see spoilers because I try to, for the most part, avoid, like, there will be a spoiler thread in my rogue group, but I won't go into it because I'll say on their spoilers so that everyone else knows that they can talk about, this comic in that thread. And people who haven't read it can avoid it. So I've been avoiding it, but now I can go and talk about it with everybody else. So that makes me happy. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope you join me in the future for more videos. And like I said, if you want to know more about Outlaw, I did a video about her, Domino #1, on Monday. And it also features in that issue the cutest puppy like ever that I've seen in comic books. So if you like dogs, you should check that out. So thanks for joining me for this video, and until next time, bye.